So I started thinking to myself today, be fun to pull out the iPad. I hadn't used it in a minute, I'll be honest. Well, at least not for music. Um, it'd be fun to pull it out and just mess around and see what I can come up with. Not necessarily come up with, but what could I do and incorporate the MPC in it? And I thought about all the effects that are so cool in iOS. iOS to me is loaded with effects. Like there's not a single effect I can't think of that I don't have on iOS. That's one of I would say one of its strengths. If you are into using a lot of effects, they have a surplus of them. Okay, so I was creating this track here. This is what it sounds like. Let me plug it in so you can hear it. Okay, that's enough just to give you a sample, all right? So then I started thinking, well, what effect would I use? And Weeping Wall came to my mind, or not Weeping Wall, Ridge Walk came to my mind because it is fun the way you can sample in up to 5 layers, I think, and then kind of get you these cool atmospheric vibes from it. So I decided to take this piano sample, which actually was a sample I used playing off of a Harmony Bloom from the computer into here using one of the pianos in here. And then I created what you hear, which is chopped up the sample and just played it. Okay, so let's try it. Let's just record in. Here we go. Oops. That was a mistake. I hit the button too quick. Okay, there it disappears. So I'm going to use let's add something like Black Hole. And Tornado. So pretty cool that you can do all that, but could you bring it back in? Well, the answer to that is yes. As soon as I get it here. So if I took, and you remember this setup I told you about, this is basically out of the MPC into the iPad. That's how you're hearing the sound. And then this is this one. But the problem I have is, yeah, I could take this apart here, or this one out here, and run in, or not that one. I'm sorry, this out here, and run it back into the MPC. But the only issue I have is I can't hear it when I do that. I would have to use a different output to be able to hear it. So, well, technically I could take this off here, go back out to the speaker the way I normally have, because I was using this as the input. But then, and then hook this portion here back over to this. Cool. You got to turn that off. That's the only problem. So here's the thing. It won't work because now I don't have the input going in, which I need from the MPC. So there is a cable though that has 3 of these. And if I'm not mistaken, the third one, as long as it has 3 of these where it could go in or out, then the third one will give you the bonus of having another headphone. So having another headphone would be all you need, and you could do it. So unfortunately, I can't show it to you because obviously I don't have another headphone to be able to do it. I only have the one with 2. But nonetheless, it's still a pretty cool idea that you can do it. You can record in using your effects into the MPC. So let's say you're tired of the effects and the little effects they have in the MPC, which they don't have a lot, if I'm blatantly honest. You could use the ones from your computer or your iPad or even the iPhone technically, because the iPhone can run AUM and a good bit of the effects. Some of them won't be on the iPhone, but for the most part, most of them are. And then you could sample those into the MPC and then build your song out from there, however you want to do. Now, one of the things, and I've said this before, is a gripe, and I know why it's that way. So please don't comment in the section, well, it's that way, because I know why it's that way. I'm not saying that it's not, that it's possible because of the limited stuff they put in here, the old systems they put into these boards. But it would be cool if they ever decide to update these things and put more RAM, which they do need to do, that they add more audio tracks, because audio tracks are a huge deal for me personally. I use it a lot in Ableton, and when I want to sample something and bounce it kind of down to an audio track, that's an important piece to me, which is why I would not use the MPC as much as like an Ableton or a regular DAW, because I need those audio tracks for my workflow. Now, everybody's different. Some people would say, well, just sample in and then put it on a pad and they'll be fine with that. But I'm not trying. I want to work with the actual audio more than the MIDI. So if you get an MPC, just know it's way more MIDI involved in this than it is audio tracks. You only get 8 audio tracks total. You can only use 8 of the instruments at a time. And part of that is because they only have 2 gigs of RAM in this board. But don't take that as like, oh, it's not good because of that. I'm just saying that's your limitations you got to deal with if you're going to use the MPC, or at least this MPC. If you go in with the one that has 4, I think the MPC X, is it XSE, or it might just be SE, has 4 gigs, and I believe if you have the 61 key has 4 gigs in it. So those 2 boards are quite efficient, are way more efficient than this, but they still only have 8 audio tracks, so it doesn't make a difference. But I'm just saying they're more efficient with regards to the RAM. So that is it for this video. Just wanted to show you could use the effects from your phone or your iPad back into the MPC and sample in, and you just need to make sure you have the right tools. If you just want to do it, a simple way is Again, having these cables, you can check out my other video where I talk about the Sonos cable that you need to go in, the audio adapter, USB-C headphone adapter, Apple, and then this cable here that you need. One of the other things I was sitting here thinking about too is because the MPC, this is the MPC Keys 37. I think if I'm not mistaken, the Live has more outs and ins. I know the 61 does, but so when you have more outs or ins like that, you should be able to have an additional source to hear the audio. So you probably in better hands than if you just have this one, because you only have your out, your left right out, and then your headphone out on here. I'm using the headphone out to be able to run this cable here into the speaker, just so I can hear the audio. But if I wasn't using that, then that would free up the other slot for here. But anyway, that's it. The other option, oh yeah, by the way, the other option is use your actual MacBook, and then you can run the audio through the MacBook, and you'll have more sources because you got all these USB. Well, depending on the MacBook you have more USB-C options where you can make plug a headphone adapter into them and get the stuff to outsource to you. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'm out.